Welcome to another episode of Middle Ground with JLE LLC, where we treat you like family. That is the theme song, Detroit Love, from my first album, The JLE Experience. I own the music and copyright. Don't mute none Facebook. Got another amazing guest for you today. We have got a lot of credentials. Licensed psychotherapist, Fulbright Special Program, national, international, and TEDx speaker, thought leader, educator, athlete, member of APA, ACA, ISSUP, and honor societies, Sigma Beta Delta, and Omega Nu Lambda. Veterans of Foreign Wars Chairman Dr. Sugi, Sugandika, DSL, LMHC New York, LPC New Jersey, Master CASAC, CLSSBB. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's a long list. Thank you.
Hey, you do your thing out here. No problem. So the first question.
Sure.
What led you to this path?
It's a great question, and I do not have a one quick answer, Jeff. First of all, yes, thank you so much for allowing me to share my story in your great podcast. I truly appreciate it. Why I want to be in this path? Because I'm originally from Sri Lanka. Maybe you heard that country. It's near India, a small island. When I'm growing up, poverty is one of the things, Jeff. Like, I did not have even electricity, right? I have a kerosene oil lamp. People cannot today, like, even imagine, like, 1 minute power cut, people go, like, so stressful, right? And therefore, when my father died when I was 3 years old, and with all these situations, it my life was very challenging at that time. Challenges either break you or make you greater, right? When
That's
I'm
true.
going through this path, I went through many obstacles. It never a rosy road. My country had the 30 years of war, and we are a secondary victims. We had tsunami, and in my life, like, I had personally two miscarriages, multiple events. Then all these events, Jeff, teach me a lesson. And I was like, it's all about your resilience, your perspective, your mental attitude, how to be better you. I always had the perspective of never give up attitude. My life motto always is like, hope for the best, cope with the rest, right? And therefore, that made me to be in this field, because if I broke, or if I was not able to overcome my mental health, I was this Dr. Sugi never going to be there. And there was another behind story. I was in few months in the thinking about that the program where I want to go, right? In my culture, my country, it's kind of a taboo to talk about mental health. It's like about crazy people, who's going to work with them, right? Therefore, I want to break the barriers. I was always being a hard-headed woman in my life. Not anymore. My maturity, experience, everything added something. But at that point, I want to break all the barriers, go there. Nobody wants to go. And that's where I end up being Jeff in this field.
Okay. That's awesome. Hey, gotta get out the mud sometimes.
Yeah, you
So,
are right.
what is Veterans of Foreign Wars?
Okay, that is one of the program. I am working as a chairwoman, and I always wants to give back to my community. As I said, my country had 30 years of war. When I was in Sri Lanka, what I did was I went to the places where some of the veterans, like they were lost their life, right? Some have
Mm-hmm.
the PTSD, some lost their legs, some people
Wow.
throughout 27 years, 26 years, they were talking due to the sound of a bomb or something happened. They cannot tell the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people just bedridden. At that time, I'm talking about 25 kind of a years ago, but at that time I want to go there. I voluntarily work for them. I talk to them. Some people don't even talk to me. They're throwing out things because they were so frustrated they cannot do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The system is not the advanced like in United States, but they
Mm-hmm.
have some kind of a caring situation. They lost their relationships only sometimes. Tomorrow they're going to marry and something happened due to the war, and today they lost everything, and only
Wow.
sometimes family lost. That's where I thought it's sometimes that is the population we forget, right? And there's a war or something going on, and we just go there and say, okay, talk about with the soldiers, they are our heroes, and there's a day. What
Yeah.
about every single day think about them, right? When I
True.
migrate to United States, and that's where I decided I want to work for them, do something voluntarily, contribute to them. Like last week we had you maybe saw the pictures in LinkedIn, and we had a essay competition. What is patriotism mean to you for the youth? I want to focus this mainly for the youth.
Okay.
Other people, I'm not saying not important, because I personally feel they are our future. If you don't know where you are coming, who helped you to be in this position today? You are sleeping in your bed today peacefully because of somebody help, right? That
True.
we gave that the young girl some kind of a monetary fund for her to improve her education, and
Mm-hmm.
we do little things for the youth. And I have a son who's presidential volunteering doing his hours. He's 10 years old, but I want him to not to talk about, be an example and show them this
Okay.
is what you should do. That's where my involvement come to the grassroots levels in my community, what I can do.
Okay. So if someone wants to be a part of it, what is like a exact service that it offers?
They have multiple. We have professionals, like I'm a volunteer chairwoman, but we have commanders, professionals. They are affiliated to bigger veteran affairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our one is VFW North Bergen, New Jersey. But when you go there in your area, you have VFWs, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can go there, join them. They provide multiple services, like the basic areas, like when you're having challenging to get your benefits, to the all the way up all the areas. I'm not the expert in that area, but we have professionals who are working. They are devoted their lives in uh, the veteran services, and they will help them.
Okay. Awesome. Now, why did you go into psychotherapy?
Yep. As I mentioned first, I am a sensitive human being. I value human life, Jeff. I think every individual is unique and they have their own story. Once I think Michelle Obama said, your story is what you have, what you ever going to have, right? It's
True.
up to you to write your story whatever the way you want it. Therefore, understanding people, it's like exploring a jungle, right? You maybe have your
True.
like you
True.
have your own wounds, Jeff, right? what
Mm-hmm.
what you want to share, it's all up to you, right? What
Mm-hmm.
you want to overcome, it's all up to you. Therefore, I have multiple wounds in my life. I want to go out there and help people.
Mhm.
Not like the when you in the plane, they say first wear your mask before help others. Therefore, first I check myself where my growth comes, what are the pros and cons in my life. After I get my professional education where I am today, now I go out and I share my story. I'm not that woman in the past. I don't want to sometimes to share my story because so many painful memories there.
Mhm.
And now today I empower people, encourage people, sharing my story. When people hear Dr. Sugi, they think like, oh my God, what a rosy road they have. No, I was like, my
No.
second language is English, right? And
Mhm.
but I end up with having 4.0 GPA in my doctorate. Why I work my in plain language butt off, right back off
Mhm.
to achieve that. That is something I appreciate myself working so hard. What is my message? Never give up, even so hard. There are thousand reasons you find, Jeff, to give up.
That's true.
Do not give up. Just find one reason why you want to go to the next step. That's where I involve within mental health psychotherapy. One more reason, as I mentioned previously, Jeff, my culture. It is not a culture where openly talk about mental health, but it is super important to talk about it. That's where I created my own YouTube channel 2 years ago. It's in my country language. It only dedicated for mental health. I talk about multiple aspects of mental health. That is what I can do in my power. Like the same way, Jeff, you do to your community, doing this podcast, whatever you can do. I'm doing all these things in my power rather than talking, taking one step further.
Awesome, and you're right because mental health has not really been talked about, but COVID changed the world to where now we
Mm-hmm.
know some people couldn't be around family or they don't have family, and that isolation has brought out a lot of PTSD in a lot of people. And
Yep.
now we got the resources to call 988 number to help you so you can deal with it because we should have done it already, but
Mm-hmm.
we love putting in this country, we love putting labels on things and throwing people away, unfortunately, which
Mm-hmm.
our God's children, we shouldn't even think like that. We should always try to help, you know.
Yep.
Great stuff you're doing. So what led you to TED Talk?
Okay, that is part of the first, what I said, your question, very first question, why you want to come to this field, right? It is part of the same bigger question, right? As I said, stigma is one of the things in my culture. I saw as immigrant, people see immigrants in different eyes. You see in the social media, forget about in anything, like talk about in multiple ways, right? As we said,
Mhm.
mental health is so important. My first TEDx talk in Texas was about immigrants resilience. I said, according to World Health Organization, 1 in 8 individuals struggling with some kind of a mental health issues, right? And
Mhm.
according to NAMI, 1 in 5 adults in United States struggling with some kind of a mental health issues, right? It's a epidemic. It's a huge.
Mhm.
What I did it, according to the evidence-based research says, the people who born outside, they have a lower risk of having mental health issues compared to their counterparts. My doctoral research is
Huh?
about immigrants and their resilience and their leadership, right?
Mhm.
I interviewed people from who's born in United States and people who's coming from different countries. Some
Mhm.
people are Hispanic, some people are different cultural background, and I remember some African coming from Africa, India, some the Hispanic countries, right? What I did was I collaborate those perspectives. I took it to the next level in the global platform. I said, we always talk about immigrants. Can we find a solution to this epidemic through immigrants? Because as I said, I was fortunate enough to talk to that professionals who wrote the article in Harvard University about, as I said, the immigrants or the people who migrated having a lower risk of mental health. I talked to them as well. And that's where we figure it out. Is it our resilience, or is it our willpower, or is it our extended families? Because we talk. Here, people are glued into these technologies, right? But in our countries, we were outside, free birds running up and down till our parents call us and like squeeze our ear and say, next time, make sure you come home before 6 p.m. Because we were running wild, eating mangoes, right? Running behind cows, goats, right? My son today, he did not have that opportunity, right? Because I cannot put him into my next door neighbor. It's a different culture. Therefore, maybe that our extended cultural, without knowing our coping mechanism, talking to other people. How many people today talk to each other, right? And you have to pay money for find a therapist. Like freely talk is not anymore a human quality, right? Therefore, all these things, I put it in a perspective. And the other thing I saw was, Google CEO, Pepsi Cola CEO, you name it, all the Tesla, right? All these people are immigrants, right? They all have a story, Jeffrey. Very, very hardships. Today, their biographies out there. Go there and check it. At the same time, I have a similar story to tell the world, right? Today, where I am, how I came through. I should be, when people say all these things, they were like, oh, wow, they cannot believe I am a living being, right? Therefore, that is where I want to tell, like my son sometimes going bananas when the internet disconnected. In my case, right? In my case, I have to wait 1.5 hours till the bus comes to me in my country, because only one bus in my area. How the patients work a role, right? Our decision making, like we have so much patience when it comes to a situation. Today, people come into really quick judgment and making comments, and their world is all about living the world, the TVs or media shows. What about who you are, right? You forget what is your qualities, who you want to be. Because I'll give a really great example. Recently, I think there's a good vibe for one of the drinks, right? Like a drinks means it's a sports drink, right?
Okay.
And recently came, it is $3.99 or something last 2 weeks. Every young boy looking for, go to 7-Eleven and all the stores, they are looking for that drink. In my country, finding water to drink to survive is an accomplishment. You understand the difference? Therefore, my thing is, that's where your original question was why you want to be in TEDx, right? I want to share that stories to show the global world these kind of human beings living in this world. When you are asking a branded shoes for $200, there are people, no legs, but they are living happier lives, right? My second speech is in New York. It's about trauma and rising above trauma. That is, I talk about trauma, how important, because that also shows huge number of people going through. It may be a natural disaster, it may be sexual abuse, it may be some kind of a trauma in your life, huge number of people. But Jeff, how often we talk about it? If somebody started saying, I had a miscarriage, people will like, oh, just like buffling, because we are not, our mindset not trained to how to react to that question, kind of a situation. Do not say nothing, just be a human and be there for that individual. That's best you can do, right? Therefore, I talk about trauma using as my two experiences, my miscarriages, how
Mhm.
my culture impacted in that setting, right? My culture, since the day you married, you want to have a baby, right? When you're going to be a mom, when you, Jeff, I have my own dreams. I want to travel. I am coming from a place where I did not have nothing. I want to accomplish something and give it to my kids. I want to have financial ability, and then I'm going to be a successful person for my family. People do not know. People do not care. They say, like, oh, if you don't have a kid, how successful you are nobody. I'm like, am I
Yeah.
going to respond to them or not? It's up to me, right? I keep
Hmm.
on pushing myself, keep on pushing myself. Today I have going to be 10 years. He's born in the Father's Day, 10 years old. Boy, I don't know. Some people having kids, they are so happy. Sometimes they're driving you nuts, right?
Yeah.
And still I love him unconditionally. And having kids in a different culture and you becoming different culture, it's a so much adjusting process. In my culture, Jeff, we don't look at even adults or authority figures eyes. It's kind of a taboo thing. Here my son comes, if I say something, why mommy, why? I was like, how bold you are to come back and ask. And then when you say why, then they have another question. If I ask that in my culture, my parents or something, I'm in a big trouble. I'm like a wild
Oh,
child,
oh,
right?
you right about that. That was how it was over here back in the day. You stay in the kid's place. You don't have all
Yes,
this freedom to. I'm going to contest whatever you say. No, long as I feed you, provide for you, you do what I tell you in my house, or you gonna be in trouble.
yes,
That's
and
how it
at the
was.
yes, at the same time, they are like sponges. They come back. For example, when I'm going for that TEDx talk, and I was so nervous, right? I'm telling my son and my husband, guys, I'm going like really crazy now. I'm so nervous. My son comes to me and say, Mommy, everything going to be okay. Breathe. Because I teach him when he was in anxious, nervous situation. Hey, Warren, don't worry. Breathe. Everything going to be okay. They come
Nice.
back and put it. Therefore, that's where I did that speech about my second one about
Hmm.
trauma, because lots of people don't talk about it. I want to talk. I got my third invitation during this year. You'll see that in the internet, not yet there. Therefore, when it's ready, I'll talk to you one more time, Jeff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, the story you're telling of what you went through over there, we forget about that today. That someone always has it worse than you.
Yeah.
You might be low class, making 20,000 a year, but in some countries, you would be
Mm-hmm.
the top 1% with that salary. So just be grateful that you do have an opportunity to get better. We do forget
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Oh, we have the segment to promote you, what you have going on. Let people know.
Actually, I'm very simple woman, Jeff. Thank you for the opportunity. long time way back. Believe me, I'm the most competitive woman in the world, and I do not want to be the second, always first. But why it's coming from, as I said, the poverty. I want to be the first in education, then I know my family can be proud of myself. When I have a skin color like that, people tell all the names to me, Jeff. At that time, it was so boiling down anger within myself. Why people
Mhm.
say that's where I became an athlete, because when I'm running and when I'm doing my sports, it's I'm getting award. Nobody remember my skin color. They remember the girl who won the award, right?
Mhm.
Without knowing, I use so many coping mechanisms for myself to be. Now my only goal is
Mhm.
to share my story, taking my son also with me. Like few weeks back, actually I did a session in my community about create the awareness of mental health. At that time, it is majority of them are coming from Hispanic population, therefore we use the interpreters, right? But at the same time, I told my son to show him how to use meditation as a technique. I am practicing Buddhist and I'm born Buddhist, right? The meditation is one of the key element we use.
Okay.
Nowadays, even breathing is I don't know people like it's a natural. Otherwise, I don't think people even properly breathe, right? No time, like for stop 2 minutes, like God's sake, enjoy this life for a moment, right?
Mhm.
That element, people always think, Jeff, we have a better tomorrow, work hard today. I'm telling you that tomorrow never comes. And at last, you end up with having a sick body, unsatisfied mind, and unresolved wounds, right? And
Mhm.
therefore, what I can say, at least few minutes take to yourself before I come to your whatever this the beautiful podcast. You saw me, I was early logging in because I do meditation few minutes. I was It's going to be okay, Sugi. My licensure, my practice, forget about this. I'm a human being. When the situation comes, I react same way other people. I get angry, I get upset, like I'm not a sane coming from.
Mhm.
Therefore, all these things I want to share today with the world. I am long time way back. I'm a Facebook woman. I love to share my what I do, like
Mhm.
my gardening. I'm a huge gardener. Right
Okay.
now, six months ago, I started this LinkedIn. I share with other professionals. Hey, these are the things I do now. And how about join hands and help each other? If you have a podcast, I can share, sure. If you want to be in my English YouTube channel, 100% sure, come there, share your story, right? And I do therefore whatever I can do to people today in my power to be successful. Don't think like I'm a $1 billion woman, you don't have any other goals or anything. That's not what I mean. I have sufficient money to be happy myself.
Okay.
Therefore, I help the next generation communities too. That's what I do right now,
It's awesome.
Jeff. Yeah,
Pretty awesome. Okay.
thank you.
Next question. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
Biggest challenge is when people say you are not good enough, you are not worthy, and telling myself, no, Sugi, you are good enough, and you you are worthy, you have power, you are a valuable individual to myself. Like
Mhm.
whole world, like I'm not saying the whole world, it's like there are multiple people help me in this journey. Believe me, otherwise, like I'm not here, my families and all. But multiple people said many, many times you are not good enough. Even like when you migrate to United States, when you're talking, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not this loud speaking person in the past. When you talk, like people, what did you say? What did you say? Like, what's your name? I'm like Sugandika, when animal. I have a dog, name is Ace, right? When you
Okay.
call Ace, he look at me. My name is Sugandika. 20 some years I'm listening to your name. Now I'm Sugi. How you feel about, you feel your identity gone? Like people say Sugi, like who's that? Like and now I became a different person. You can take away my name, right? But not who I am, right? And therefore, multiple adjustment. Even when you say a word, you have to repeat 10 times, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you want me to talk louder? Sure, I can do that too, And
Okay.
therefore, by adjustment towards not to lose myself
Mm-hmm.
and achieve my goals in my own way and be happy, as well as like be other people to know where my journey. That was my challenge. I think somewhere I am successful today because I said, yeah, Sugi, this is fine, this is you, go for it, and otherwise I have a time period when people say things, getting upset, angry, crying, sometimes go to the bathroom multiple times. I cried, Jeff, like,
Huh?
what is this, why people do that to somebody? I cannot even think to do something like that,
Yeah.
and that's where my journey and greatest challenges and success also there.
Okay, I understand that. So, next question. In your words, what has been your impact on this journey?
I think when my impact is people comes back and say, sometimes even like a TEDx talk, right? And
Mm-hmm.
after you finish the talk, they come back and say, hey, I was in the similar situation back behind the audience. I was there, I was crying, I want to give you a hug, can I give you a hug? I feel I touch somebody's heart and mind and soul
Mm-hmm.
rather than hiding that story behind myself. When I bold enough to come outside and say my first language is not English, I was in this kind of a challenging, but I got 4.0 GPA. People will empower them. They want to, oh my God, how did you do that? Thank you to Grammarly for correcting my comma. But other than that, that therefore I think my resilience story impacting people, some people sending their little messages, and especially in my community, not much of a people went this far in their journeys when
Mm-hmm.
they share with me, and I truly, truly enjoy those little moments, Jeff. Those ones because I impacted at least one person, maybe not
Mm-hmm.
millions of people, but it impacted one individual to be successful in their journey. That is where I get super happy what I'm doing and what I did.
That's awesome. And
Thank you.
last question. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
That's a super awesome question. I wish, Jeff, I have a magic wand and say, hey, Jeff, 1, 2, 3, go there. This is how you should do. There's no formula for that, right?
Nope.
The formula is first thing, know yourself, know your qualities. What is your positives? What are the areas you should improve? Don't give a damn about, sorry for using that word, and
Yeah.
about the, yeah, about the world. Who you are is the most important thing in the world. When you know who you are, when you know where your wounds and what you have to do to overcome it, it's in your hand. Nobody has that power. I maybe have my traumatic situations. You don't want to overcome it, it's all up to you. You want to go there and drink the whole day, it's all up to you, right? And
Yeah.
if you want to get some help, go to the AA meetings or go to a therapist to overcome it, it's all up to you. Therefore, identify what are the areas you can enhance. And it's called coping mechanism. It doesn't matter what coping mechanisms. Be your American Idol when you are showering and sing louder like super lungs out, right? That's a coping
Uh-huh.
mechanism,
True.
right? You don't care about. Or writing, listening to music, as I said, do gardening, do meditation, running. God's sake, talk
Mm-hmm.
to people if you feel comfortable, not to your computer or the phone, right? And talk to your kids. Let them be who they are, who what they want to, and watch the TV together and talk about it, right? I'm a lifetime movie girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love, and my husband always joking me, "Are you planning to kill somebody?" No,
Oh no.
and I was always saying no, because these are true stories. I can cry myself, I can laugh myself, because truth, that's what I like. Some people like comedies, right? It's all up to you. Therefore, find your own coping mechanism, what you can do about it. Then, I'm not saying success word, Jeff. I call it progress. Somebody's, because success can define everybody whatever the way they want it. Progress
Mm-hmm.
means somebody getting out of from the bed. If you are in a depressed situation, go to the kitchen is a huge accomplishment. Somebody getting their degree is a huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, we all in different phases of life, and always, no matter what there's a saying, how slow you go, how fast you go, progress in your life. That is where your accomplishment. I think the Maya Angelou, I love that individual.
Mm-hmm.
She always saying, "You can shake me, you can break me, but as always, like wind, I'll blossom. Right? I'll come back." That's what the resilience is, the so important thing. When people say, when I have two miscarriages, people say like, "Okay, you are not a mom, you are not good enough." Third time I tried myself, God bless, I was like, no, I'm not going to give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today I'm a mom. I'm not saying everybody going to have the similar situation, don't take me like I'm not generalizing, but whatever. Two times you fail the exam, try the third time, go for the fourth time. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
that is what my, it's, I'm not saying the advice, like I'm not giving advices, but through my experience and knowledge, if I am progressing and being somebody in this wild world, I came
Mm-hmm.
that far. That's how I came. And when I'm going to school, my shoes were polished. We used onions, right? We did not
Okay.
have polish. I used onions, polished it, sometimes
Okay.
smelly. But when the rain comes underneath it, I have holes in my shoe, right?
Mm.
Nobody did so my legs were getting wet because top is like very polished like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the world, I went that showing people I'm okay, but I did not hide it. I worked towards it. What
Yeah.
is my area? Like the same way, identify, identify your wounds and use that as your success in the future. That's where my last thoughts towards it, Jeff.
That's some awesome Yoda type advice, because you definitely gotta not care about everybody. You gotta focus on you. In the world we live in now, if you listen to them, you'll be drinking some Johnny Walker, want to jump off a building, because they always gonna say, "You suck at the way you walk. You suck at how you talk." Like, what? This way I talk, yeah, but you suck the way you do it. So you really gotta everybody kick rocks and follow your path. You work at it. Some people are awesome. First try to get it, you might take 8 tries, but you got there. No one's gonna remember how many tries. They remember, oh, you took care of it. Cool. As long as you're doing that, you're all right.
Yep.
I definitely thank you for being so awesome to share your amazing story. Anybody watch the replay, people watching live, gonna be inspired. One of my good friends, Carl Sean Watkins, he's reached out to connect with you, sent you a friend request.
Sure.
He has a great show. He might want to get you on there. Mr. Vulnerability himself.
You can connect me via LinkedIn, and there are like I have my Facebook group, Facebook page, and my own web page. There are multiple areas. I love to connect with people in the LinkedIn now. It's a professional platform. And thank you so much, Jeff. I want to tell you, like you kind of individuals make a difference. It is our Saturday, right? Night time for me. You have your own way. You can relax, watch TV. You dedicate few valuable minutes for thinking about others and doing this service. I recognize this podcast is a service to the communities, whoever wants. I truly appreciate that, connecting with us and doing all these things. And I want to respect you as well as like a shared huge gratitude doing this.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, make sure I say your full name if I can do it right in justice. I want to thank Dr. Sugandika T.
Okay.
Rama.
You got it, sir.
There we go. Veteran of Foreign Wars Chairman. I got to add your stuff. Your DSL, LMHC New York, LPC New Jersey, Master CASAC, and CLSSBB for sharing their story, and a fun-loving person with great stories.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you doing it.
Sure.
Hope everybody have a great night.
You too. Enjoy your weekend, Jeff. Take care. Bye. Bye.
And here we go. And I'll be forgetting to throw my little advertisement for my stuff, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And next episode of Ground Floor is coming on later tonight. Another great session talking about dating 101 to help people out here. Check back in for that one. Be safe out here. Have some fun. Enjoy this life. Until the next time.
313 Detroit love, the Motor City. Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love, that 313. Detroit raised me. Detroit's in me. Can't nothing stop me.